Welcome to our lecture online. So now let's find the covariances between the various data sets so we can fill in the rest of the covariance matrix. In the previous video, we were able to find the diagonal elements which were equal to the variances of the three data sets. The variance of the data set X, of Y, and of Z. So what about the covariances? Well, the covariance for data sets X and Y is defined like here, which means we're going to sum up the products of the difference between each of the elements in the X data set and the average of that data set, and we multiply that times the difference between each of the elements in the Y data set minus the average of the Y data set. Notice we had already calculated the averages of the data sets, so we take 2 minus 6 multiplied times 3 minus 9, and we multiply that together. Then we get 4 minus 6 times 6 minus 9, 6 minus 6 times 9 minus 9, 8 minus 6 times 12 minus 9, and 10 minus 6 times 15 minus 9. That becomes the numerator, and we divide that by the total number of elements in the data set. When we then go through a little bit of arithmetic, we end up with the number 12. So 12 is the covariance between the two data sets X and Y. We do the same for the covariance between X and Z, and then the covariance between Y and Z. Again, the definition, it's the difference between each of the elements and the average of all the elements. The difference between each of the elements minus the average of the elements. So in this case, we do X and Z compared, and here we compare Y and Z to find the three covariances. Again, it'll be the first element, 2 minus the average, 2 minus 6, multiplied times 9 minus 5, that's the first element minus the average of the elements in the data set Z. We do that 5 times, we add them all up, divided by 5, we get a negative 8. Remember that a covariance of a negative, that gives us a negative number, indicates that one data set will be increasing while the other data set is increasing. And then when we compare Y and Z, notice that the Y data set is increasing, the Z data set is decreasing, so for the covariance between Y and Z, we get a negative covariance as well. Again, the size of the covariance doesn't give us that much information. If it's really big, that means there's a strong correlation. If it's small, that means there's a small correlation, but it's sometimes hard to tell if it's big or small depending upon the size of the numbers in the data sets. To get a more accurate understanding of the relationship between the data sets, finding the correlation coefficient gives you a better way to look at it. We'll go ahead and calculate those on the next video. But first we need to complete the covariance matrix. So notice here we have the covariance of XY and the covariance of YX. Those are the same. They both are 12, which means I put a 12 over here and I put a 12 over here. Notice if I draw a line across the diagonal, directly across, I get the two covariances that are equal to one another. Covariance XZ is the same as covariance ZX. So that's right here. That gives us a minus 8. So we'll put a minus 8 over here, and we'll put a minus 8 down here. And then the covariance YZ and ZY, those are the same, and I get a value for negative 12. So negative 12 goes here, and a negative 12 goes there. And there we go. That is the covariance matrix for three data sets. It's a 3 by 3 matrix. The diagonals represents the variances of the three data sets, and then the off-diagonal elements, there are 6 of those, they represent the covariances. But notice that these three are the same as these three. It's just kind of like a mirror image across the diagonal, and that is how it's done.